Nobel laureate Professor Soyinka has given a hard knock on the terrorist group Boko Haram, calling them enemies of unity. Professor Soyinka, who turns 80 in 2 weeks' time, told Reuters news agency in Abeokuta, Ogun State today that even though the bloodshed directly related to Boko Haram activities is worse than what happened during the Biafran War and is not likely to disintegrate Nigeria.
Yes, he also blamed successive governments for allowing fanaticism to undermine Nigeria's broadly circular constitution.
There were atrocities which were committed, but you never had such a regular, getting to be near predictable level of carnage. I think this is what is horrifying. There's no war zone, there's no battle line, it's everywhere. It's not just in the northeast, for instance. It's here, right here where we're sitting, it's right down in Lagos, even though it has not manifested itself as brute in any dimension as brutal as in the northeast, but it's here. Some of those who were responsible for this predicament are now victims. The victims, they're calling out for help. They're calling to the full state, the federal government, other states, they're calling for assistance because they've discovered that it's a situation of when you say you're so holy, you cannot live with others. You're so pure, your beliefs are so specialized that they cannot accommodate other people. Then other forces come and say, oh, you say you are holy? Well, we are holier than you are. And therefore, our particular tenets must hold at the cost of the disintegration of the nation. For the first time, I think a sense of belonging, ironically, is predominating. And it's unlikely, because the forces which would like to see this nation break up, and I'm not sentimental about nations, I'm just speaking very objectively, the forces which would like to see that disintegration, a breakaway, are the very forces which will not be satisfied with having their own enclave. They will want absolutely, they're expansive in nature, and they see examples in all over the world, and they are part of an international organization which wants to spread its own brand of, I can't even call it religion, I just say, because it's both politics and religion. It's a power play. And they would like to expand their own territory onto others. And so it's either we stick together now, or we break apart, and not in a very pleasant way. When the specter of Sharia first came up, and for political reasons, this was allowed to hold. Instead of the president defending the Constitution against some of whose provisions the Sharia system clearly was against. And so for political calculations, appeasement policy, this flaccid ideology of political correctness that you don't offend here, you don't offend here, action was not taken at that time to scotch it and say it's either you live by the Constitution or you don't.